Hello, Hypno Buddies. Welcome back to more Chaos Head Noah. Well, last episode was the first third of the Ayase route. Yes, third. This one is a little bit longer than Nanami and Yua's routes. Those ones I was able to cut in half. This one I'm going to cut into thirds. And partly, last episode was reiterating some stuff we have already seen. I apologize for that, but there was some new stuff in there, and I think it was worth refreshing our memory on certain things because, well, it's been a while, and this is the Ayase route, so let's do Ayase things, but we are now firmly in new territory with that cliffhanger at the end of last episode, so let's get right into it. Enjoy. Oh dear. Oh dear! Oh bad! Oh dear! On the bed sat Ayase, stained with blood from head to toe. Her hollow eyes pierced straight through us. Are these trophies? What the hell happened in here? We were gone 2 minutes. Yeah. Mizumi-kun let out a pathetic scream, then shoved me aside and flew out of the room. I wanted to run as well, but my legs were frozen in place. I quivered in fear. And yet at the same time I was struck by the bewitching beauty of the blood-drenched girl, as well as the things leaning against the wall behind her. Yeah, you got a collection. I couldn't move an inch from where I stood. The objects resting there, as if it were the most normal thing in the world, were D-swords. 4 of them, considering that Rimi has 2. Why is Nanami's here? That one's a real mystery. 3 of them, to be precise, including the one I'd seen her wielding before. Each one had a different shape. One had a form so strangely sophisticated it could barely pass for a sword. Another was shaped like a cross, its form evoking a sense of heart-rending pity. And the last one, which Ayase had used before, appeared mystical yet aerodynamic. Why did Ayase have 3 D-swords? Wait, why had I assumed that a person could only have 1? Maybe Senna and Kazubi had multiple swords too. Takumi. Yeah, I need an explanation. This should be good. She called my name and I gulped. She began to approach me, her body surrounded by an air of elegance. I was frozen in place. You came after all. There's a bathroom right over there. You might want to wash up. Why is there so much blood? Her pajamas were dyed crimson by an abundance of blood. Blood that hadn't even dried yet. The rusty smell of fresh blood seeped into my nose. Yeah, whose blood is this? This is the blood of the Black Knights. So 2 specifically? Are you going to need a donation from me? What the hell's going on? Black Knights? Is it yours? Oh, don't worry. It's not my blood. Yeah, it is not. Then whose? And were you the one who killed them? Hee. I don't think she would kill them. I think she knows she needs them. But still, this is quite the sight. Ayase smiled a wide smile, and then she giggled. You must be frightened, Takumi. She stroked my cheek with her blood-soaked fingers. But what frightens you the most lies within your own heart. You must cleanse your wicked heart of impurity and safeguard only the purity that remains within. If you can achieve this, you shall obtain your D-sword. You must obtain it at all costs. It's over by O-Front. You are a Black Knight. You possess the strength to do so. But if I get a D-sword, are you gonna kill me too, or just assuming she's killing people? Did you kill them? We haven't heard a confirmation yet. I mean, you're here to kill Black Knights, right? Man, that delusion right off. No, she's not. Do not be fooled. That is the impure wickedness swaying you. Ayase peered at my face, her hand still on my cheek. Her eyes looked hollow, and yet I could sense a profound radiance buried deep within them. I couldn't take my eyes off her. Black Knights hold authority over wicked hearts. However, the wicked-hearted king was cunning. The Gladiol Saga, Volume 6, verse 250. Gladiol will gradually erode the domain of wicked hearts, reach complete dominance under a veil of silence, before at last driving them to rampage. We cannot afford to lose this battle. We must oppose the wicked-hearted king's invasion of the hearts of men. So, what are you implying? Like Gladiol possessed Nanami and Remy to come after you? I had never made eye contact with a 3D girl for this long before. I was completely captivated by the traces of sorrow, desolation, and vigor in her eyes. I hadn't listened to a single word she'd said. Well, she's mostly speaking nonsense, so this is fine. Yeah, protect me. I came here looking for a bodyguard. You seem capable. When I snapped out of the trance, I found myself muttering that. Protect me? Please? Very well. Well, that was easy. Ayase nodded without a second thought, and then she brought her face closer to mine. The stench of blood grew stronger, becoming more and more overwhelming. Did you murder our younger sister? Because I have mixed feelings about that. This is how it was foretold. She whispered softly in my ear, and my heart was racing. I will protect you. So please, protect me as well. Have your choice of the D-Swords laying over there. With her body smeared in blood, she was so corrupt, so impure, and yet so bewitching at the same time. It was hard to believe that a girl like her was a student at my school, and in the same year as me, no less. There are no longer any other Black Knights who can fill this role. At first I attempted to gather the Black Knights as prophesied, but with my strength alone it proved impossible. But if you are here, Takumi. Just like she had at the concert, Ayase showed me a face that was unbearably seductive. A face she rarely ever showed. Eventually, the gate of Cocytus will open, and when it does, the wicked-hearted king shall descend upon this world. That is why we must hurry and collect them. We're not collecting Black Knights anymore, we're just collecting swords. All 7 D-Swords. Interesting. Well, Kazupi, Senna, watch your asses. You and I, together. Yeah, this is a slightly different mission. No longer collecting knights, just collecting swords. He's not even going to know who to ask about, because he doesn't know those are Remy's and Nanami's. He's just going to be like, oh, swords, cool. There were 3 D-Swords leaning against the wall. In other words, there were 4 left. One of them is the D-Sword you must obtain yourself, right? I already tried. I couldn't do it. Are we going to do it? Are we going to do it here? We did it in the main path. Back at O-Front, I'd come so close, but in the end, I'd thrown it all away. I'd given up completely on getting a D-Sword. Do not succumb to despair. This isn't Danganronpa. Many more opportunities shall arise. It is already visible to you, after all. That alone is evidence that you are a Black Knight. So, eventually, I'll be able to do it? If you can conquer the impurity of your wicked heart, then it is certain. I don't know, judging by the other routes, I don't think he can. What was wicked heart supposed to mean? Was she saying my heart was wicked and impure because of my perverted delusions or something? Yes! Yes, she is. And she is correct. Oh god, it would not be easy to conquer that. Probably even impossible. WTF? Don't make me throw away my eroge. Ayase let go of me and returned to her bed. And right when she did, she suddenly began undoing the buttons on her pajamas. Why does everyone need to do this in every single route? I mean, change your clothes, but do it in the bathroom, woman. I'll be changing clothes now. What? Wait! No. We need to we need to cleanse the impurity of your wicked heart. So, flustered, I instantly looked away. I figured I should probably leave the room, but right as I went to... Stay. After hearing that, I couldn't move an inch. Literally a bitch. You are a dog, sir. The only thing I heard after that was the sound of Ayase taking her clothes off, echoing through the quiet room. Please tell me you put on clean clothes. The hospital room wasn't very big. It was slightly larger than my base, but still pretty small. And so there I was alone in a tiny room with Ayase, and she was right behind me changing clothes. You have a bathroom! I could tell it was happening right behind my back. Shit, I was so nervous. But why? It made no sense. It wasn't like I wasn't used to this kind of stuff. There was a scene just like this in that one eroge. A slime girl appears with CGs by Hagashi Madasema. Is this a thing? Is that a play on someone's name? Why do you look away, Takumi? Because I don't want to get banned off YouTube. That's why. It happened in that one eroge. Yes, it also happened in literally every other path. Because I shouldn't look. My voice almost cracked as I spoke. Are you abashed? Are you not? Was she trying to tell me that it was okay to look? I mean, I wasn't into 3D girls, not even remotely. Oh, yes, you are. We have a great deal of evidence to prove it. That being said, if she was giving me permission to look, I wasn't gonna say no. You should be made aware that you are being fooled. How so? Those feelings of yours, they are proof of his erosion of your wicked heart. Fooled? By who? The wicked-hearted king, Gladiol. I casually picked up the book on the bedside table in front of me. On the cover was the Gladiol Saga, Volume 17, the Book of Psalms and Revelations. There's 17 books of this? Damn. Who's Gladiol? A wicked existence. The manifestation of negative delusions. Oh, is that going to tie into the delusions we've been having? Is there going to be a plot tie into all that? The collective unconscious of the darkness that dwells within the hearts of all. Well, good luck killing that then. A deity that will bring about the end of the world. He goes by many names. like Mizumi. Does that guy use a wheelchair? Like, is he disabled? Gladiol does not always take human form. I have finished. You may look. May we? Saying I have finished doesn't mean you're wearing things. Also, you need to wash up. Oh, you're wearing your uniform. I slowly turned back around to face Ayase. She was already done changing clothes, and for some reason she was now wearing her school uniform. Did you wipe your face and hair on the pajamas there, or what? I still have questions about those D-swords. Why your school uniform? Because he is drawing near. Gladiol's awakening is upon us. We're either going to have the big fight with him here, or we're going to have the big fight with him in the true ending. We need to be ready to move at all times. Then wouldn't normal clothes be better? She doesn't own normal clothes. Well, whatever. What's done is done. Does this Gladiol guy have anything to do with Gigalomaniacs? Does she even know that word? Yeah. I don't think she does. Nani? Ayase raised her eyebrows in confusion. Seems like she didn't know. Maybe Gigalomaniac was just the term that Senna used for them. Gigalomaniacs, that's what Senna called people with a D-sword. And powers. I believe she knows who Senna is, or should. She said that the D-sword is like a channel or something connected to the Dirac Sea. I suppose everyone has their own names for things. Yeah, Senna's coming at it from the scientific point of view. Ayase is more the religious cultist. A D-sword is the materialization of one's own wicked heart. That is what is written in the Gladiol Saga, Volume 3, verse 1123. It is a tube of prophecies. As she said that, her gaze was fixated on the book in my hands. Oh, there's that pose again, but now she's in her these clothes instead of her PJs. Everyone seems to believe that my lyrics contain foreknowledge. But in truth, I simply take inspiration from the Gladiol Book of Psalms and Revelation. Which must mean that those psalms are some sort of written prophecy. How did nobody else notice this? A written prophecy? Are you kidding me? I am completely serious. Everything happened in Shibuya right now, and everything that will happen has been foretold in the form of a story by Ziegler. Who is Ziegler? 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 Zig Ziglar? The author of the Gladiol Saga. He has since passed away, but I believe Ziegler was a great Black Knight when he was alive. I was really starting to think that Black Knights were just her term for gigglomaniacs. And if the author of this book was a gigglomaniac, then no wonder he could predict the future. Are we leafing through it? I skimmed through the book I was holding, the Gladiol Saga, Volume 17, the Book of Psalms and Revelation, and what I saw shocked me. Uh-oh. Oh. The fuck? It was blank. It was blank. The book is blank. No matter how many pages I turned, no matter where I looked inside the book, there wasn't a single word. What the hell? I turned back to check the front cover. It wasn't a normal book cover. It was almost entirely blank. All that was written was the title and the author, not even the name of the publisher. Once again, I tried flipping through the book from the beginning. But even the first page was blank. And no matter how many pages I went through, I couldn't find a single one with any writing. Yeah, Ayase, I'm going to need an explanation for this. Yeah, is this a that's a hell of a misprint, my guy. What do you mean? I mean, isn't this just completely blank? What are you saying? Everything is written there. I have read through it countless times. What are you talking about? Look! I shoved the open book right in Ayase's face. I don't care what you say, that's totally blank. It is not blank at all, though. Yes, it is. There are words written right there. Can you not see them, Takumi? Was she screwing with me? Or was she actually being serious? Okay, maybe Ayase is just crazy. Maybe Ayase had been a complete mental case all along and I'd only realized it just now. No, I'm pretty sure you realized that early on and you were correct. So you cannot see them. Then you are being eroded by the wicked-hearted king. Time for me to kill you, too. Ayase was dead serious. She really didn't seem to be joking. In fact, I was pretty sure I'd never seen her crack a joke even once before. Yeah, I don't think Ayase gets humor. I took another look at the book, but I really didn't see a thing. It really just looks blank to me. I see. Ayase's shoulders drooped in disappointment, and she took the book from my hands. Her hands were cold to the touch. Have you ever thought about it? Thought about what? That the shape of the world is formed by the eye of the beholder. And nobody can measure the difference in perception. Concepts or condition could never match between two people. But I can at least say this much. The difference between what you see and what I see can be attributed purely to the influence of our wicked hearts.
邪神の集合体が
And the wicked-hearted King Gladiol is the collective of all wicked hearts.
目覚めようとしている。
He is about to awaken soon.
もしも目覚めたら、
And if he does, it is entirely certain
この世に67
that all
億ある世界は
6.7 billion worlds in this land shall be amalgamated through the chaos born from the wicked-hearted king, and then they shall meld together into one.
境界が消え、
Boundaries
邪
will
神により
disappear.
連結された世界
All
に
shall
な
be
るの。
consolidated by the wicked
あら
hearts
ゆるものが規
into a
則性
single
もなく
world.
生まれ、
Everything will be
あらゆるもの
reborn
が
in
一瞬で
chaos,
死ぬ。
lacking any pattern,
概念も
only
認
to
識も
perish in an
因
instant.
果律も
Concepts,
全て
cognition,
破壊される。
causality, all of them will shatter.
すべてあるがゆえに、
A world
何も
including
ない世界。
everything, and therefore containing nothing.
あらゆる神話と同じように、
Like any other
予言
legend,
されて
this
いる
calamity too has been prophesied
終末予言、
by the Revelation,
滅びの
the
歌。
Psalms of the Apocalypse. Was that really true? Was that what was written in that blank book, in the Gladiol book of Psalms and Revelation?
このままでは、
If we do not
滅び
act,
の結末に
the
至るだけ。
apocalypse will be unavoidable, and the world shall see its ending.
今、止められるの
But
は
if we act now,
私と君、
you and I can stop it.
二人しかいない。
We are the only ones who can.
Do-
We've just given up on the
どうして
other knights.
僕ら二人なの。
Why just us?
導きよ。
Guidance.
他の黒騎士は、
The wicked-hearted king has already eroded the rest of the Black Knights. How do you know about Kazupi and Senna? And aren't you just saying that we've been eroded too? Are you going to wait for us to get our D-sword, then immediately stab us and take it, and add it to your collection? Wait. Ayase had said earlier that the blood on her was from the other Black Knights. Well, at least two of them. Had she killed them somewhere here in the hospital? If she had, then where were all the bodies? Then, right as I thought that, Ayase walked past me and placed her hand on the door. We're completely oblivious to the fact that Ayase may have killed our little sister.
どこ行くの？
Where are you going?
おしっこよ。
To pee. Question answered. With a deadpan expression, she answered me, then headed off without waiting for my reply.
Huh?
Well then, pee away. I looked around the room, trying to find more volumes of the Gladiol saga, but no dice. I didn't know how many volumes there were in total, but the one I picked up before was the 17th. Volumes 1 through 16 were nowhere to be found. Of course, it was possible that she just hadn't brought them to the hospital. I still couldn't believe that the book was totally blank, despite seeing it with my own two eyes. And so, I left the room before Ayase came back. I thought there was a bathroom there. So, the hospital had this corner set up in the far end of the lobby. Countless PCs were lined up there, and they all had internet access, something I'd learned from the countless times I'd been here. Now that visiting hours had ended, all signs of life in the lobby had vanished. We're just leaving Ayase there? Even though it was so busy during the day, the lobby was now covered by an eerie silence, making it impossible for me to calm down. I'd definitely get kicked out if a nurse saw me, so I made a dash for the PCs. I wasn't an idiot. I knew a thing or two about Western mythos and stuff, and I'd learned it all from the anime, manga, and games I'd gone through. But even with all that, I'd never ever heard of the Gladiol saga before. The first time I'd ever seen the name was when I'd looked into Ayase online. I think we heard about the name when we tried to get our D-sword as well. So without further ado, time to look it up. Let me guess, doesn't exist. Never mind, I got quite a few results, way more than I expected actually, which worried me. Maybe I really was the only one who didn't know about it. But as I looked closely at the results, I noticed one common denominator. All of them had something to do with Phantasm or Fess. Whenever the Gladiol saga was mentioned, it had to do with something Fess mentioned, or Phantasm's world building, and other stuff like that. It was all a bunch of hearsay. But no matter how much I searched, I couldn't find any discussion on the actual contents of the book. Phantasm world building. Did Ayase just buy into her own brand or something? What's going on here? There was a wiki entry for it, but it barely even touched upon the premise. Yeah, fictional, a series of high fantasy novels based on the Eastern European myth of Gladiol, the wicked-hearted king. Told over the course of 23 volumes. Well, there we go. It depicts the battle between the 7 Black Knights and Gladiol. It was written by R.C.O. Ziegler from 1929 to 1951. The series has been translated into several languages, but it never gained widespread appeal due to its rather esoteric writing style. So, this is like, what? Ayase has been reading Song of Ice and Fire and just kind of bought into it and thought it was real, or what? Fictional. A series of high fantasy novels based on blah, 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 exactly what Psymin says. Never gained widespread appeal. That was all that was written there. Compared to the pages on other legends, each of which were filled to the brim with information, this one felt a little lacking. Even the wiki page on D-Swords went into more detail than this. And since this was Wikipedophilia, the free encyclopedia that anyone could edit, there was really no way to verify its accuracy. The picture on the D-Sword page had been entirely off the mark, for example. In the end, there was one thought that kept coming to the forefront of my mind. What if the Gladiol saga was simply a product of Ayase's delusions? Maybe Ayase was trying to create some sort of Lovecraftian mythos or something. Hell, Lovecraft himself, if I remember correctly, had used his books to share his crazed delusions with others. If that's what Ayase was doing with her songs, then all this, even though it might have sounded kind of cool, was just a whole load of crazy schizo bullshit. And to make things worse, Ayase didn't seem to realize that. She was confusing it with reality. Was everything Ayase told me nothing but her insane delusions? Maybe the whole apocalypse thing was simply some delusion she wanted to see. Typical Chinibiu stuff. Tortured kids who just want to see the world burn.
ああ、それは僕もだった。
Oh yeah, I guess that includes me. Fuhihihi. So if that was true, then what exactly did Ayase actually want to happen? What kind of ending did she want to reach? What's at the end of her route? How did she want this legend to end? And was she someone I could trust?
信じるも何も。
Why am I even questioning
しか
it?
いないじゃないか。
Ayase's all I have left. Well, poor you. Rimi was gone, Senna was kind of scary, and Kazubi was unreliable. I would rather rely on Senna than Ayase. So it didn't matter how crazy she was. She could spout delusions all day for all I cared. Ayase was the only one I could rely on. Plus she had a D-Sword. She has a few. There was no denying that. And her songs really had prophesied the new gen cases, whether they were based on delusions or not. Or new gen had been happening because her delusions were becoming reality. If anything, though, that just meant she was even more powerful than I thought. No harm in using that power to my advantage. I needed her. And luckily, for God knows what reason, she seemed to be interested in me. I wonder if that means that Senna, I did it again. I wonder if that means that Suwa and Hazuki were using those songs for inspiration for what they were doing. Because obviously they were their ideas. But I think they're familiar with that Gladiol book themselves, so maybe it's a coincidence, maybe they were drawing from the same inspiration, who the hell knows. Or maybe it'll just be something that's specific to this route. So as long as I took her words with a grain of salt, I'll probably be fine. Yeah, it was all going to be just fine. Famous last words. Did we go back? I guess we went back. When I came back to the hospital room, Fess was singing. Strike the stake, which, again, I believe was the name of her chapter? Or the name of the achievement to unlock it? Rend the dark night and bathe in moonlight. Pound the stake. That's the name of it. Thousands of iron hammers become thy pain. Now thou art released. Before long, the screams flutter in the air. And the night sky becomes tainted in a brilliant red. Ayase was sitting on her bed eating some hospital food. Well, she wasn't actually eating it. She was just listlessly poking her frozen tofu with her chopsticks, all while quietly singing a song. Just waiting for us to come back. It was one of the prophetic Phantasm songs, the one that had foretold the third New Gen case, the crucifixion. It was called A Contract of Blood to Seal Our Sin. Hey, that's the name of the chapter/achievement. I was familiar with it myself as I had bought the album. But in this case, Ayase wasn't striking a stake. Rather, she was stabbing her chopsticks into her tofu. I suppose it was closer to stabbing. As soon as she saw me, she gave a faint smile, as if relieved about something. I did not think you would come back. Where did you go? I just wanted to look something up, so I went to go use the PCs in the lobby. Sleep here tonight. I'm not sure that's allowed. With me. What? Really? I flinched instinctively at Ayase's bold request. Had I tripped a flag without noticing? Yes, as you are wont to do. Are you hungry? You may have some if you wish. She's going to give us Sua's fruit bowl. She picked up some frozen tofu with her chopsticks and offered it to me. Are you only offering because you don't want it? Yes. I like Ayase. She's honest. She pursed her lips into a smile. The hospital food is abominable. Its wicked heart is drenched in impurity. Of this I am certain. Why are we staying here then? You seem to be dressed for checking out. Everyone grab your swords. Goddamn wicked hearts this, wicked hearts that. Was that all she knew how to say? If the two of us were talking online, she'd have been banned for spamming by now. Then, is it still safe to eat, even if its wicked heart is tainted? Stop playing along. But yours is already tainted. Is it not, Takumi? All those boxed lunches and instant noodles, they are a prime example of tainted food. If you wish to awaken as a Black Knight, you should halt your intake of them. What? You want me to give up ramen? Okay, what do you usually eat? Chocolate. You just eat chocolate exclusively. Yeah, shouldn't chocolate be tainted too? Was that actually all she ate? Chocolate? Talk about an unbalanced diet. Hers was even worse than mine. What the fuck? Chocolate is fine. Its sweetness has the power to repel impurity. Is that how that works? Bullshit. You may talk fancy, but in reality you just have a sweet tooth. Anyhow, Takumi. Open wide. Why is everyone playing the airplane game with me during these routes? All the girls want to feed me. Ayase brought the frozen tofu closer to my face. Yeah, I'll pass. I'm not really a fan of frozen tofu either. I'm good. I didn't even want the dried pasta from Yua. I cannot accept that. What the fuck was going on? This wasn't fair. I don't want your tofu. It was every man's dream to hear a girl say, okay, say ah. So why did it do nothing for me? Maybe it was because the food was Ayase's unwanted leftovers. Or maybe it was because she was a 3D girl. Well, she definitely wasn't going to give up trying to feed me, so I reluctantly opened my mouth. As I chewed the tofu, the broth spread throughout my mouth. Very good. Now you are one step closer to becoming a Black Knight, Takumi. I sure didn't feel any closer. And now, for your vegetables. What happened to feeding me nothing but chocolate? Please, Ayase, no more. What are you, my mom? Well, I guess we actually stayed the night. I'm going to need an explanation for those D-swords at some point, though. When she'd finished feeding me, Ayase had once again started going on about the Gladiol saga, but this time she really got into it. Even once the sun had started setting, she seemed oblivious to the fact that the room was getting darker. Not once had she thought to turn on the lights. For the most part, though, she'd pretty much gone in depth on the things she'd already mentioned prior to that. Nothing really new. And she wasn't exactly the most engaging storyteller, so now I was starting to get sleepy. Though, considering that Shogun was still out there, it probably wasn't smart to be dozing off.
というわけなのよ。
And that is our duty. Do you understand this? After talking for 5 hours. Huh? What? Oh, yeah, I was totally listening. Sure, whatever. I hadn't listened to a word she'd said, but I decided to just nod for now. But when I did, Ayase squinted at me, then moved in close. Don't quiz me. Please don't quiz me.
聞いてなかったのね。
You were not listening, were you? I'm starting over. She usually didn't show much in the way of emotion, but I guess even she could get mad under the right circumstances. Maybe I should apologize for upsetting her.
それも、
It seems
染まっているせいよ。
that impurity runs deep within your wicked heart. Oh my god! Again with the wicked hearts.
先に取り除かなくて
I
はならない
suppose we will have to excise it before we
君が
proceed
侵
then.
食した邪神を。
The impurity that has eroded your wicked heart. She just grabs the sword and cuts my heart out.
でなければ、
If we
純
do
粋な
not,
る邪神は
purity
培養
shall
され
never
ない
be able to flourish within you. I'm not sure if purity could ever flourish within Takumi no matter what we did. This boy is not exactly the poster child for purity. What was she trying to do to me? By the sound of it, some kind of terrifying heart surgery. It gave me the chills just thinking about it. But it seemed like my guess was off. With a slightly sorrowful expression, Ayase licked her lips. I'd caught a quick glimpse of her pink tongue, and I must admit that moment was extremely sexy.
君の邪神を取り除くためなら、
I shall do anything to excise your impurity. Well, here we go with the scene we all knew was coming.
望みがあったら言って。
If there's anything you desire, you must tell me. Yep, that's... Alright. Yeah, that's... Yeah. Anything? Well, I still didn't know what she meant by excise your impurity, but... Well then, how about for starters, YouTube, don't ban me. How many times have I said that during this Let's
でも
Play?
してもらおうか。
Would you even kiss me? Oh, I'm pretty sure she's willing to go further than that. Yeah, that's it? No, she's literally disappointed. It's like, you know that's not how impure you are. Despite the darkness, I could see the rigidness of her expression. Uh-oh, maybe I'd gone a little too far. I really didn't want her to start hating me, and I definitely didn't want her to abandon me, so I rushed to apologize. Or at least I tried to, but she didn't give me the opportunity. Instead, she grabbed me by the collar and shoved me right into a nearby closet. Well then.
何を
Wait, what are you... Let's keep the screen black, shall we? No lights. Lights off. Shh. She pressed her body up against mine, and then she closed the door behind us, leaving us tightly packed inside the closet. Are you sure you're not the impure one? I'm pretty sure you're the impure one. The closet was incredibly cramped. It was not designed for people. In order for two people to fit, they had to be pressed right up against each other. It didn't help that I could feel Ayase's stifled breaths in my ear either. Maybe it was how dark it was, but the situation was really turning me on. Yeah, see, this is how impure you are. Kiss? Nothing. Bitch, please.
どうしたの
What's going on? Oh, I think you know what's
もし
going
も
on.
今あるよ。
The nurses are doing their rounds. Oh, you're hiding him. So that's why we were hiding. Visiting was prohibited at night, so obviously sleeping over was too. If they found out I was here, they'd kick me out immediately. Okay, but why was Ayase hiding with me? Yeah, I was about to ask that myself. You go in the bed, we'll sit in the closet.
この病院
You
に
let us know when the coast is
敵
clear.
は多いわ。
There are enemies all around us, even in this hospital.
敵
Enemies?
グラジオールの使い
You know there are! You keep going on about
私たちを
Shogun.
支配しよう
The harbingers of
虎
Gladiol.
視眈々と
They
や
lie
って
in
い
wait
る
for any opportunity to subjugate our hearts. Even the nurses were our enemies? Yes, one in particular, very much so.
それってただの被
Are
害
you
妄
sure that's not just your persecution complex speaking?
静
Quiet. Here comes the Hazuki. I had no clue what brought it on, but Ayase suddenly sealed my lips with hers. Well, there we go. I don't know. Feels like there's a lot of room in that closet. Okay, you're making a lot of noise for sealing lips. Quiet. Her lips were so soft. It was enough of a shock to make my mind go completely blank. That was when I heard the door open, yeah. And at the same time, some strange mechanical sound. Uh-oh, rucksack! Whoever they were trying to be stealthy, but I still had heard them come through the door. Is! Oh, it's Hazuki. She's not... Who are you talking to? Is Sua there? Sua's usually the one with the rucksack. She's not here. I heard a female voice. I felt like I'd heard it before, but I couldn't exactly remember when. Nice glasses, Hazuki. I'm worried she ran away. Could she have figured us out? You're right. Perhaps I went a little overboard with how many times I made contact. She was talking to someone, but I couldn't hear the other person's voice. She must have been on the phone. Ayase's lips were still glued to mine. Her sweet aroma lingered in the air. It smelled absolutely incredible. They were so soft, not just her lips, but her breasts, her shoulders, her hips, her thighs. Every part of her body that pressed up against mine was soft as could be. There was probably someone really dangerous standing right outside the closet. We're playing Outlast right now. But that thought didn't even register in my mind. I was completely lost in pleasure. Have you finished your mission? Oh, so that was just step one, I see. It's about time I head for the Scramble Crossing then. Oh, so yeah, Sua is probably calling Bond to get him to come out here. And Hazuki is about to head to Scramble Crossing with the other rucksackers. So she does have a rucksack on her. And we know she has a rucksack because she had one when she died. See you later. May the divine light save you, Mamoru. So yeah, Sua, as we knew. It seemed like they'd finished their conversation, and with that, the suspicious woman silently left the room. I could tell the coast was clear. It was probably safe to come out of the closet now, but for some reason we kept making out for like 20 more minutes. But Ayase still hadn't let go of me, yeah. Oh, she's trying to... She needs to purge her wicked-heartedness. And then for only a moment, she pulled her lips away from mine. She looked at me, tears welling in her eyes. Takumi. I will be your guide. And you will be the Messiah. Or our boy has enough of a complex already. It has been decided. He's not gonna kiss her, is he? Therefore, I will do anything. Any wish you have, I shall grant it. Well, you wanted a slave in that other route. I guess you found one here. I didn't really get what she was trying to say. I figured she was probably just spewing her crazy delusions again, but either way I didn't mind. Takumi. Takumi. Ayase kissed me again. Except this time it was nothing like before. This time Ayase's tongue, slick with saliva, forced my mouth open, shoving its way deep inside and coiled around my own. Nothing else mattered to me anymore. I just let myself give in to the pleasure, embracing Ayase's slender, supple hips. Man, just wait for the true ending where you don't get any girls. Yeah. It was becoming a little hard to breathe. When I tried inhaling, I just ended up sucking in Ayase's hot breaths. Alright, settle down. Ayase's saliva spilled into my mouth. It tasted incredibly sweet. I swallowed it with audible gulps. My brain was completely paralyzed, mesmerized to the core. I never expected the touch of a 3D girl to feel this good. Like I said, you are into 3D girls. You just don't have any experience with any. Uh-oh. What the? That sounded like a closet door being slammed open. I heard a sharp sound off in the distance. Startled by the noise, Ayase backed away. What was that sound? Her lips were soaked. Why are our D-swords missing? Our D-swords are not there. Why are our D-swords not there? Her lips were soaked in the mixture of our saliva. Even in the darkness, it was clearly visible. I couldn't care less about the sound. I just wanted to get back to making it with Ayase, and if possible, go even further beyond! Hell yeah, losing my V-card for the win. Wait, hold on. Had Ayase been with other men before? So wouldn't that kind of bring down the whole experience? Ayase, I'm going to need to know your body count. Or maybe Eroge just rotted my brain. Also that. Two things can be true. Nah, there's no way Ayase had past experience. No normie would want to stick their dick in someone this crazy after all. What does Psy'Min keep saying? Never stick your dick in crazy. Takumi not listening right now, though. I mean, even Mizumi-kun had run away from her.
ヘラヘラしていないで、匠。
You mustn't take this lightly, Takumi.
させん。
Yeah, right, whatever. I'm still happy boy. Yeah, I need you to snap out of it. Ayase had slapped me. My hopes and dreams were dashed at an instant. And in their place, anxiety arose. I felt like I was about to cry. Dude, you have no emotional maturity whatsoever. Ayase was staring daggers at me, but I couldn't help but cling on to her all the same.
ごめん。
I'm sorry.
嫌わないで。
Please don't hate me.
邪神に支配さ
Do
れるの
not
では
allow
なく、
yourself to be dominated
邪
by
神
your
を
wicked
己に
heart.
取り込むのよ。
Let it instead be absorbed into yourself.
でなければ、
I don't think you're helping him get rid of his wicked-heartedness there, Ayase. You're just enabling him. If you do not, you will never awaken as a Black Knight. Does this mean we can't even see the swords anymore? They're there, but we can't see them? Oh, interesting. That could be the case. Never forget this. Yeah, okay. Pretty sure the reason I'd gotten all turned on was because of the kiss, not all this wicked-hearted stuff. But I couldn't be bothered trying to argue with her.
行くわよ。
Let us go.
ど
Go
どこへ
where?
銃声だったわ。
That
さっき
sound we heard. That was a gunshot. Aha! So Suwa is here with Bon, and Yua is probably roaming around somewhere as well. A gunshot? Here? In Japan? In a hospital? It hadn't sounded like one to me. And then again, I'd only ever heard them in movies and vidya, so it wasn't like I had any frame of reference as to what a real one sounded like.
銃声だったとして。
Even if that was a
何をしに行くの？
gunshot, what do you expect us to do about it?
これもまた、予言
This
にあった
too
わ。
has been foretold.
すでに邪神王との戦いは
Also, the
始まってい
making
る
out.
の
There was a verse about that too. The battle against the wicked-hearted king has already begun.
黒騎士の心が
The
殺され
hearts
て
of the Black Knights are soon to perish.
だから回収するの。
So we must
D-sword.
retrieve them. The D-swords.
私たちにできるのはそれだけ。
That is the only thing we can do. The Black Knights were going to perish? Had that bullet we'd heard been fired at someone?
警察に。
We should call the police.
ダメよ。
That
警
would
察
serve
に
no
邪神に
purpose.
支配されて
The
しまっ
police
てい
have
る。
long since been dominated by wicked hearts. We were reaching unprecedented levels of shitso here. Ayase has completely lost it. Told you, don't stick your dick in crazy. The Gladiol saga was nothing more than a delusion of hers. Everything she'd said was nothing more than a delusion of hers. I had asked myself earlier what kind of ending she wished to reach. And I was still asking, seriously, what was her end goal here? What the hell was I supposed to do?
ついてきて、匠。
Come now, Takumi. Ayase was already on her way out. I hesitated to follow her. But that was when I realized, yeah, the swords. Notice that you can't see the swords. Yeah. The 3 D swords leaning against the window were gone. Had she taken them with her? I bit my lip, hesitating for just a moment longer, but in the end I decided to follow after her. Yeah, if he mentioned that he could no longer see the swords, Ayase would probably have something to say about that. I have a feeling they are actually there. Well, Ayase had gone straight for the rooftop. It was almost as if she knew exactly where the gunshot had come from. There was no hesitation as she walked. Let us kill Suwa, please. It will be extremely gratifying. The hospital's roof had been turned into some sort of garden. The plants were all fully grown and the flowers were in full bloom. But it was too dark to tell what color they were. Watch Suwa be the wicked-hearted king, or end up being the wicked-hearted king, or taken over by the wicked-hearted king. I hid behind Ayase and took a look around. I couldn't sense anyone there. In fact, I didn't sense any signs of life at all. Had the gunshot really come from here? And even if it had, who fired it? Guns weren't exactly common in Japan.
やっぱり戻ろうよ。
We really should leave.
もし撃たれたらまずいよ。
If we stay, we might get shot. But Ayase didn't listen to my pleas. Instead, she moved even further into the garden, meaning I pretty much had to follow her. And then I saw a dim blue light in front of me. It was extremely faint, as if it'd go out at any moment, but it was undeniably there, flickering in the darkness. Is that Yua's sword? I keep saying Yua, but it is a D sword. It's actually Mia. Yep, that is Mia's sword, if I'm not mistaken. It was unendingly elegant, and yet it possessed a razor-sharp edge, as if it longed to cut down all around it. Its presence was completely otherworldly. Two people were lying on the concrete near the D-sword. I recognized them. You was one of them. The girl in the school uniform with eyes pointed up at the sky was Yua, no doubt about it. What was she doing here? Is she alive? And the other person was a middle-aged man. Looking at him closely, I realized that it was the same detective that had questioned me about the crucifixion case. They were both lying on the ground, completely still. I carefully approached them, and that was when I noticed the puddle of blood around them. I jumped back in shock, but it was too late. The crimson liquid had already colored the bottom of my shoes. The detective's body was especially soaked in blood. Yua, on the other hand, didn't seem to be wounded. What the hell had happened here? Why were Yua and the detective together? Now that I knew there was a detective involved, the gunshot made more sense. But who had he shot at? Yua? A million questions were racing through my head. So many, in fact, that I couldn't even begin to organize them. I couldn't handle the confusion, so I turned to Ayase for help. Looking as solemn as ever, she ignored the detective and approached Yua's body. I will recognize that since our boy Takumi can see Yua's sword, then maybe the other swords did go missing, but then who took them? I mean, we tried to take Ayase's sword in the main route and our hand just passed right through it, so, Still many questions. Stopping right in front of the pool of blood, she kneeled beside Yua and felt her neck with her fingers. There is a pulse. Her body still lives. But her heart does not. It has perished. As for the man, his end has already come. She was speaking in her usual indifferent tone. How can you be so calm right now? That guy is dead. It is as I said before. This has been foretold. I already know everything that's going to happen. I watched someone else's Let's Play on YouTube. The fuck do you mean foretold? Are you sure this isn't a delusion you wished would become a reality or something? It is possible. But there is no way to know for certain. What? It is of no consequence. The origin matters not. Then Ayase stood up. What'd she do? And pulled her D-sword out of thin air, okay? That explains where yours went. She took her D-sword, glowing bright red, and touched it against the D-sword that was stuck in the ground. Is this how you claim them? Suddenly a high-pitched resonance reverberated through the air. A resonance so shrill it felt like a drill was carving a hole in my ear. Or at least that was the image the feeling evoked. Immediately after the sound began, the shapes of the two D-swords began to effortlessly distort. Their transformation completely ignored the laws of physics. It was like they were made of liquid or clay. The two swords warped repeatedly, as if writhing in pain. The resonating sound only got worse. Unable to bear it, I tried plugging my ears, but it didn't help in the slightest. Is this how you claim them? Until suddenly a shockwave ripped through the air. Before I could even begin to understand what was happening, the D-sword in the ground was in Ayase's left hand. Ayase must have been in agony. Her expression made that very clear. But only a moment later, she looked at me and smiled. She was even blushing slightly, almost like she was aroused or something. This is the fourth one. I don't see it in your hand. It almost looked like... I couldn't tell the difference between how her sword looks now and before. It almost looks like they merged slightly, but I don't think so. It's got those two little flaps on the side now that I don't feel like were there before, or maybe they were. This is the fourth one. even though there were corpses right in front of her, and whoever shot the middle-aged detective was probably still nearby. How could she put that sword over literally everything else? Was it really that necessary to get the ending she wished to reach? Did she really need all 7 D-swords to defeat Gladiole? Again, Kazupi, Senna, watch your asses. Maybe once all the swords combine, they're going to look a lot like Nerose's sword, because Nerose's sword was ridiculously complicated. Did Gladiole even exist? All those who become Gigalomaniacs broke at some point in their lives. I remember what Senna had told me. I suppose that meant Ayase had also broken at some point. I'm not sure about when Nanami broke. I guess Nanami broke when she was being tortured? I suppose? Again, she's kind of got it off better off than most of these girls. Does that mean I'd eventually break too? You broke a while ago, buddy. Well, the eventually was probably unnecessary. After all, I already felt like I was going to break thanks to everything happening with Ayase. Ayase quickly erased the D-swords. The 2 of them vanished, as if dissipating into the air itself. So can she just kind of call them now whenever she needs to? That's why they vanished? So, should we report this to the police? Yua was my enemy. I wouldn't lose any sleep about leaving her body here among all the carnage. But I had already stepped in the blood. My shoes were leaving red footprints all over the pavement. Which would, yet again, be enough to make me a suspect. We will not be doing that. A wave of relief washed over me. Ayase was gazing up at the night sky. Her expression still seemed slightly sorrowful. It is drawing near. Drawing near? What was? According to Ziegler's prophecy, Gladiole's awakening is upon us. Be vigilant, Takumi. I still don't have a sword. A calamity is about to befall this world. You are about to experience a world, the likes of which you have never seen before. But you mustn't lose heart. If you do, overthrowing Gladiole will be impossible. Ayase's voice lacked its usual composure. It was almost like she was scared. Would it really be that bad, whatever was about to happen? Or should I say the delusion that she was about to turn into reality? I'm not ready yet. I need a sword. Then hurry and ready yourself. We are out of time. Ready myself? Colonel, that's easier said than done. Colonel, that's easier said than done? What's that reference? I don't even know what you think is supposed to happen, so what am I supposed to do? The worlds shall soon fuse. Their consolidation has begun. Ayase mumbled that to herself, looking up at the sky. I decided to look up at it too. Oh. Third melt? Are we in third melt territory? I guess, yeah. Hazuki was going to head to Scramble Crossing, so yeah, I guess we are about to start. In the sky, I could see a single spot dyed a vivid white. A white so bright it stuck out like a sore thumb in the night sky. What even was that? I gulped. Come to think of it, hadn't some people reported that the sky had turned white right before the last earthquake? The white spot was gradually expanding. It had an inexplicable sense of relentlessness to it. It left me completely speechless. Gladiole has awakened. Well, you were still wandering around after the third earthquake, so the earth trembled, the building shook. No, it wasn't the building shaking, everything was. The white spot in the sky grew even bigger. Then we were immediately assaulted by a violent buzzing noise, one that sounded similar to the resonance of the D-sword from before. My head felt like it was about to explode. And then... there we go. The world was dyed completely white. And we're going to end it here for this episode. Stick around for the finale of the Ayase route next time. Take care, and I will see you then. Have a great week. Bye-bye.